Okay, can you hear me now, guys? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'll wait for your response. Okay, let's see. Dot, dot, dot. Okay, it looks like you guys can hear me. So, excellent. Gianluca tells me yes. So, what I was telling you guys before that you couldn't hear me, okay, we're talking about we're talking about writing a CV, okay? Especially now, living in Milan, it looks like a perfect time to search for a new job, huh? The job market is changing and we're in a time of big change. So today, guys, we're going to work together to prepare a CV and also a cover letter, okay? Now, the cover letter and the CV are slightly different. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between a CV and a cover letter? The biggest difference between the CV and the cover letter is the fact that the CV is your record. What I mean by record is it's all of your work experiences, whereas your cover letter is going to be a specific small paragraph to talk about your specific experiences that can form for the job you're applying for. Now, earlier, when you couldn't hear me, I apologize for that. When you couldn't hear me, I talked about a thing called tailor-made, okay? Tailor-made is another way to say customized, okay? So when you customize your CV, that's going to be in the cover letter. We're going to make a tailor-made cover letter so that every application we make has something specific to make a connection between that employer and our prospective job opportunity, okay? So looking here, we are going to talk about and we're going to try to write some of our examples for a cover letter, okay? Now, these are what we're going to include, okay? So all of the information that we can include in a CV, we have to be very, very clear and very concise, okay? What I mean by concise is I mean very, very simple and direct. When talking about a CV and organizing a CV, it's important to think about a timeline. Okay. We have a timeline in our life and we have a timeline writing our CV. Okay. So looking here, these are 6 of the different things we want to include in our CV. We want to include personal details and personal profile. We want to include education and qualifications. We want to include work experiences, awards and achievements, extracurricular activities, interests, and we also want to include references. Now, the most important thing, especially talking about references, usually we only have to ask 1 or 2 people to write a reference for us. These people should be someone that you can trust and you feel very comfortable with them writing a reference about you. Especially in America, just like anywhere else in the world, we mostly receive jobs through reference. It's very important to know people, to get into contact with people. It's important to network and it's important to connect the dots. So we have to think about our CV is a piece of paper that can connect us to other people and other opportunities. When we talk about asking people for references, it should always try to be applicable and it should always be someone who will give you a good reference. What I mean to say is a person who you might have worked for in the past, or it could be someone, for example, a professor or someone you feel comfortable with. When we talk about our personal details and our personal profile, the biggest difference between Italy and America, for the most part, In America, we don't have to include a photo. Okay. We include mostly our contact information, as in our name, maybe our date of birth, our phone number, and our email. Okay. And usually before we have, that's our main piece. After, what we do is we talk about a small little introduction to us. Most of the time, it's going to be a small little paragraph about what we are currently doing. Okay. When we talk about education and qualifications, remember the most important part is we want to have everything in a timeline. So the most current or the recent to the things in the past. Okay. When we talk about awards and achievements, this could be anything between grants or fellowships, awards. It could be competitions. For example, using my own experience, I can put on my CV that I've received a fellowship for studying different techniques in painting. Okay, so always think about all of the things you do, not only professionally, but academically. Okay. When we talk about extracurricular activities, a lot of people like to add hobbies or something like that, dance, painting, playing guitar. It can be anything like that. But also always try to use this as a way to stand out, to differentiate yourself, okay? So here we have another phrasal verb. We have to stand out, okay? To stand out is a way to be different. Okay. I had mentioned earlier that we also always want to review our CV. Review, a phrasal verb for review is go over. Okay. So we want to look at these ways and also introduce some of our phrasal verbs into our dialogue that we use daily. Okay. So go over or stand out. Now, whenever we're going to look at some different examples. Okay. We want to remember always, always, always to start with a bold, brief statement that outlines your purpose, includes skills, experience, and type of position you are looking for. Okay. So, what I'm going to do now is I will write down a personal detail. Okay. And if you guys want, you can also participate in the chat and and give me your idea. Okay. How about you guys go ahead and try? Okay. My bold statement was I am a teacher who is passionate about student success, focused on building a great dynamic in the classroom. Okay. So now, how about you guys give it a shot? We want to remember while you guys may be writing that you don't have to include your birth date, a photo of yourself, or nationality. Okay. So now let's look at education and qualifications. Okay, we always want to include specific modules or courses and dissertation. We want to include specifically the date and the place of study. And always we reverse chronological order. That's how we want to organize our CV. Is everything starts from the most recent to the past and down. Okay. So now when we talk about specific writing in our CV, we're going to talk about our work experience. Our work experience is something very important. Okay. We can write an outline of the responsibilities of your previous jobs. We want to try to incorporate the skills that resulted from your experience. We usually use past tense and note form to describe work experience. So we want to use verbs ending always in ed or ing. Okay. So if we talk about it in a lot of ways, we're going to use, for example, we have a lot of what we call transferable skills. And with these transferable skills, we have verbs. One could be manage. One could be organize. One could be collaborate. Okay. So looking at these are different ways that we can utilize our transferable skills inside of our work experience. Okay, once again, we are tailor making our CV. So, what we're going to do is we're going to say collaborated with other colleagues, for example, or organized the budget, or managed a team. Okay, and we can say that the same way using ing. Manage the team to produce a certain goal, organizing events in order to, or organizing events to produce a certain product or promote a certain product, and collaborating with clients or colleagues to reach a certain goal. Okay, these are all things that we can use inside of our CV. Okay, awards and achievements. We always want to mention awards, achievements, and special projects you've participated in. You don't want to include irrelevant, trivial awards, achievements. Only include this section if you have information that will benefit your CV. What I mean to say is, for example, I wouldn't necessarily talk about I like to go surfing, because what does that teach? What does that tell an employer? You want to always think about the activities you do outside of work for the location where you want to work. How can we connect those two worlds? Okay. Okay. Once again, we always want to interest something that we can transfer into standing out, into being something a little bit different, into helping our employer see and remember us. Okay. That's the whole point of making a CV, is we want to make something that makes us stand out, that makes us seem different, that keeps us in the memory of our future employer. And our references. Okay. Remember, we're going to always look for references, most particularly about that are recent. Okay. Don't go 10 years in the past to your high school teacher to ask for a reference. That doesn't work. There's no credibility. The best thing to do is from your previous work, asking someone from there. Okay, because they're the ones that have just seen your experience. They understand you, they know your weaknesses, they know your strengths, and that can really help you. Because if you leave your previous company on a good note, you can never go wrong. Okay, anybody that you work with, that you collaborate with in life, the most beautiful thing is if you continue to make good connections, even the people that you leave behind will always be proud of you and encourage you into the future. Okay, that's what we want to create. We want to create we want to create the feeling, the sense that you're building, okay? Because in life we have two different things. You can always build, or you can burn bridges. Okay. All right. And Robbie, stand out is to be different. Okay. And this is the difference is we either are going to burn bridges or we're going to build together. And you want to think about every time that you have a work experience, you always want to update your CV. Okay. Now let's move on. Okay. And we're now going to spend some time talking about the cover letter. Okay. So, in your opinion, guys, a cover letter, what is it? And the beautiful part about today is if we talk about cover letters, we can also see that writing a cover letter is also very similar to maybe writing a business email. So, a lot of the grammar, a lot of the structure that we will see today, we can overlap. Okay. And what I mean is we can use it we can use it in other areas. Okay. So when I say overlap, it's the fact that we're saying I can take this idea like a transferable skill and I can apply it to something else. Okay. Like cover letter structure, we can also use in emails. Okay. We're going to look at what makes a good cover letter and we're going to take a look at the sections. So if we think about a cover letter is kind of like an email. So that means we need a structure and not just any structure, but we need a specific structure. We're going to need an introduction, we're going to need our body, and we're going to need our conclusion. And we're going to take a look at those today. Okay. So we have a part where you get to imagine. Okay. So imagine you have just seen an advertisement for your dream job. So think about it right now, guys. What is your dream job? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to draft that cover letter for your dream job. Okay. So, thinking about it, your dream job could be anything between working for a big bank, uh, an insurance firm, a legal studio. It could be working for a gallery. It could be working for a school. Okay. Each one of these. So, try to take a moment now and imagine what is your dream job. Okay, let's take a look at a sample cover letter. Okay. Let me open it up. Mhm. Okay. All right, so if we look here, guys, here we have the structure of the cover letter, okay? So we can zoom in, okay, and you can see that this is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at our body, and we're going to look at conclusion and close. Okay, so first, let's take a look. Okay, introduction. State what job you are applying for and where you heard about the job. Briefly mention how your skills match the job. And salutations. So salutations can be anything between doctor, Mr., Mrs., Miss, and always the last name. Okay? Remember though, sometimes we don't understand who we are writing to. Therefore, we always have to write to whom it may concern. Okay? Or in regards to. Okay? These are some different ways that we can write to people that we don't know who we are writing to. Okay, now looking at some examples, we have I'm very interested in the entry level position that is available at Macro Investment Partners. I recently graduated from Pacific University, and my courses in investment, finance, and business have given me a solid base upon which I plan to build my career. Okay, so looking here, we have some different words. Okay, we have some different keywords. For example, recently. Okay, we're going to use a nice present perfect, okay, and a solid base. So a solid base, can anyone think about another synonym for solid base? For solid base, we can also use foundation. We can also use structure, okay? In the body, we have 1 to 2 paragraphs which explain why you are interested in the job and why you are an excellent candidate. Paragraphs, they should be around 5 to 6 lines, okay, usually 3 to 4 sentences. We want to use keywords here. So when we talk about keywords, we're always going to try to use things that we saw from the company, okay? As in, always before you write your CV and your cover letter, we want to look and we want to search the company. We want to inform ourselves about the company. Okay, if we understand what the company is looking for, we can see if we are a good fit or not. Okay, and the whole thing is we're using the cover letter not as a way to repeat our CV. We're using the cover letter to add more, to give a specific experience or a specific example to make us stand out. Okay, so let's read here the example together. My extensive experience in the customer service industry has taught me the value of providing positive, individualized service to all customers. As a restaurant host, I made sure to promote each guest's comfort and well being. As an award winning sales representative, I worked one on one with customers to ensure that all of their questions about products were answered and that each customer felt listened to. I would bring this positive energy and hospitality to my job as a flight attendant at Air Atlanta. So, looking here, guys, we see that their past experience was a restaurant host. Okay. And look, they're applying for an airline company. Two very different types of environments, but they have transferable skills. Transferable skills like positive, individualized service. Okay. They talk about guest comfort and well being. They're looking at, for example, they're connecting that with positive energy and hospitality to become a flight attendant. Okay? So it's always about making nice connections in your paragraph. In the end, we talk about conclusion and closing. Okay? We're going to want to restate how your qualifications are a great match for the company and job. We're going to politely request an interview, and we're going to thank the employer for your consideration, for any consideration. And these are some different closing examples. Now, if we look, my three favorites are going to be sincerely, kind regards, or just regards. Okay? And look here at the example for a conclusion. As you will see from my CV, I have the dynamic teamwork skills necessary to be part of the Air Atlantic flight team. I would love the opportunity to speak with you about how my experience would make me an asset to your flight crew. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. Okay. This is a key phrase right here. I see this everywhere. Okay. Always going to be thank you for your consideration. Okay. And once again, we use modal we can. Okay. I would love the opportunity to speak with you. I could offer more, all right, etc., etc. Okay, so now let's see it in action. Okay. I'm writing to apply for the full-time receptionist course coordinator position as advertised on my English school's website, 15th of April, 2018. I'm a flexible and reliable individual whom you are seeking. I have attached my current curriculum vitae for your perusal. So now looking here, we have some different vocabulary, okay? And if we're not familiar with it, what do we think? Seeking is another very nice word instead of saying looking. Okay, so seeking is looking. And for your perusal, that's a nice word. Okay? Perusal is for your curiosity. Okay? I possess the qualities you require to become a valued employee of my English school. I have recently completed a level 2 certificate in business administration at the London School of Business and Finance. During my studies, I developed an excellent eye for detail and have significant experience in organizing documents and data. I undertook a number of team projects as part of my studies, so I am very comfortable working as part of a team and am confident in my interpersonal and communication abilities. My previous employment in reception and administration roles demonstrates my skill and experience in this field of work. I am passionate about achieving set goals, which is demonstrated by my academic and extracurriculum achievements. My extensive computer knowledge is displayed through my numerous information technology involvements. I believe my professional manner and skills in customer interaction and reception duties will be of benefit to your company. I would welcome the opportunity to explain more about my interest in my English school and skills and experience that I can bring to the position. Thank you for taking the time to consider my application. I am enthusiastic at the prospect of working for you and look forward to hearing from you. Okay, yours sincerely. Excellent. So looking here, as we can see in the conclusion and in the body, we have really nice sentences. Okay, and most of the time, all of the time, they always reflect your CV. Okay, so applying for a job in a school, okay, I might not necessarily put in my job experience. Say you've had 5, 6 different jobs in your life, but they all seem to be very different. On your CV, you don't have to include all of these. I always suggest maybe choosing one, two, or three, maximum three, because remember, we want to be concise. Okay. So looking here, we notice that in the cover letter, we're talking about previous experience and we're connecting all of the points. We're connecting how my experience demonstrates how I would be good in the position. We use different verbs like display, demonstrate, passionate, believe. These are different ways to emphasize how much we would be a perfect solution for their company. Let's switch back over to looking at a CV. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly upload the CV example. We can take a look at the structure of a CV. Now, to be honest with you guys, you can find, if you're planning to apply for a job in America or England, you have in Europe the Europe Pass CV structure. In America, however, you can go online, you can simply type in CV outline, structure, copy, paste, and apply all of your information to that structure, and it'll be perfect. Okay. Some people like to get a little bit more artsy about it. Okay. But really, less is more. Remember, that's a good value point. Less is more. You want it to be clean and you want it to just be simple. Okay. So let me load this up for you guys right now. So do you guys have any questions so far? Any questions at all? Excellent. So looking here, guys, this is what we see. Our example CV, we have a clear introduction of the personal information. Okay. So we always want to remember to put it in the middle. Okay. Don't put it on this side or this side. We want to make a nice title and put it in the middle. Okay. Looking here, we see our personal profile. The personal profile is a mechanical engineering profession. This is how they start. Again, remember, how are we going to keep our structure? It's either going to be ed or ing. Okay, so offering an advanced computer skills and proficiency in software programming, strong planner and problem solving, adapts to change, works independently, and exceeds expectations. Able to juggle multiple priorities and meet tight deadlines without compromising quality. So this is a nice one here. We have juggle. Okay, juggle is a way to use to say balance. Okay, so oftentimes we can use juggling as in, hey, what are you doing today? Well, I'm juggling a couple different things that I have to do. I'm balancing, I'm working on some different things. Okay, so remember, how did we have the structure? So we have that first education, but is it the most recent or the first education? It's always going to be the most recent going towards the back. It's the reverse chronological structure. Okay. So here, what do we see? We want to keep a nice, clean structure moving from top to bottom. We have our dates. Okay. And also too, if it's still your job, you only have to put the start date. Okay. Don't worry about the start and finish date. You can even put an arrow as well. We want to put an arrow. Do, 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 do. An arrow. Okay. Boom. So here we have our qualifications in education. Then we have our key, okay? And our key skills are going to be things that can either be language, can be computer skills. So this is where we want to talk about Microsoft Office. You can talk about Photoshop. You can talk about CAD or different softwares that you studied. Okay, whereas our language skills are obviously going to be all the different languages that you guys love to speak in. All right. Then we're talking about work experience, okay? And as you can see here, once again, remember, short and simple. We don't have to tell them our entire life, okay? But we want to always talk about the specific things that apply to my prospective job offer. Therefore, work experience, this person only has one work experience. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that he or she hasn't had different experiences. It's the fact that this person believes that this one at work experience is the most applicable. Okay. So, once again, if we look at how they describe it, they describe by saying achieve sales budget goals through application support and new industry market application research, pay visits to end users and DI for seminars and technical presentations with salespersons or distributors while collecting marketing information and competitor information analysis. Okay, so this person is keeping it very simple. They have simple verbs, adjectives, and it's clear. They give you all of the good ingredients. Okay, looking here and achievements. Okay, and now this is where it doesn't necessarily matter if it's chronological order or not. Okay. But we have scholarships and different organization awards. Okay. Where they were received an ambassador. Our extracurricular, we can even talk about, for example, we have state national hockey team. Now, it's one thing to just say that you play sports. But once again, if you have any types of awards or any types of records for your team. Always put that into the information because it shows the boss that maybe you're a very competitive person. Maybe it shows the boss that you're very determined. Maybe it shows your prospective boss that you really like to stick and be a part of a team. Okay. So any type of information you can add always helps with your viability of getting the job. Okay. And then once you do is you just add. Okay. So that is in a nutshell how to make a really nice CV. Okay. Coming back to our career day. So let's talk about salutations. Okay, what do we remember about salutations? We can say, for example, if we don't know who we're talking to, what do we say? To whom it may concern. Okay, if we know the person, we can either use, what are some of the suffixes for people? We can use doctor, Mr., Mrs., or Miss plus the surname. Okay, and we can also use dear sir or madam. Okay, our introduction. What are some different ways that we can start our introduction? We have to state what job we're applying for. So remember, in regards to the position of dot, dot, dot. Okay, or I would like to offer my availability for. Okay, and always include where or how you heard about the job. This is a perfect time to talk about maybe you know somebody that already works for the company. You can go ahead and be free to add that in. Okay, now in the body, what is it important that we need to include? Remember, in the body, the most important thing that we want to include is we're going to talk about our past experiences and we're going to talk about how these experiences would be best for their company. Okay? So, using keywords. And when we talk about keywords, this once again, I want to reiterate the best thing to do is go back onto their website, the company's website, and see their mission statement. Okay? See the thing that they are about, what they're passionate about. See if you really fit well with the company. Okay? Very important. Don't repeat your CV. Always add more. This cover letter is there for you to add more, to give a little bit more. Okay? And we always want to tie in our examples with our abilities. Okay? Our conclusion. Okay, we're always going to thank them. We're always going to be polite and we're always going to look for any opportunity to help them remember us. Okay, to take a close look at our CV, to go deeper, to want to call us. Okay, you're selling yourself. And these are some different ways that we can end it. Okay, sincerely, regards, respectfully, and respectfully yours. Okay. So now that you guys, we've spent this hour together, okay, and you guys have made some different attempts at writing parts of the CV and parts of the cover letter, okay? So now, for example, I'd like to know if any of you guys have any things that you will take away from this lesson. What can you apply now? So remember, what are some of the important ingredients of the CV? So when we talk about the structure of the CV, what's the most important thing? Whenever we have our first name, our last name, our personal information, how do we put it? Where do we put it? Tell me when to stop. Huh? We put it right here in the middle, okay? Whenever we talk about a little bit of information about us, we're talking specifically about the job we are applying for. After, what can we follow? We can either follow with our work experience or we can follow with our education. And what order do we put our education in? We put it in reverse chronological order. Okay. Whenever we talk about, for example, do we talk about our entire life? No. We want to talk about only two or maybe three examples most. Okay. Other than that, everything else can be left unsaid. What's also important to add to your CV? You always want to familiarize yourself. You want to make them feel like they know you. So, therefore, what you need to do is you need to add some achievements or some extra activities that you do. Like I said before, it could be about dance, it could be about playing guitar, it could be about playing music, it could be about building, anything. Because all of these things help an employer to understand what type of things this person likes to do outside of work. Okay? And remember, it's always good to have one or two references. And where can we find these references? We want to find the most recent references, guys. The most important thing is not to go back 10 or 15 years, but maybe your last employer, maybe someone that you collaborated with. Okay, anybody that you feel like you have a really good connection with are perfect examples to give you uh, a great reference and a great recommendation for a new job opportunity. Okay. So, to go over some things that we talked about today, we have, if I'm talking about an introduction, we're going to say, Dear Mr., Mrs., Doctor, Miss, to whom it may concern, or Dear Sir, or Dear Madam. We always want to open up the body and the cover letter really strong, okay, in regards to applying for the, okay, these are different ways to open and apply for the job. And you always want to talk about specifics and details. Okay. Talk about your past experiences to apply to your future perspective of working for the company. Okay. Whenever we conclude, we always want to thank them for their consideration. And we always want to sign it and say sincerely or close with best regards or anything like that. So now you guys are ready to go out into the wide world, go into America, travel the world, and letter and CV. Okay? If you guys have any questions, remember you can always find us online during these awesome webinars. You can find us at school, and you can also email us. Okay? So from Myes, I thank you very much for your time to everybody. Thank you for following me today. My name is Sean. I'm one of the teachers at Myes to talk about a little things that we mentioned during the lesson, just to clear up. Remember, whenever we want to be different, we want to stand out. Whenever we want to use one thing in another area, we want to overlap. Okay. Whenever we have a solid foundation, we want to have a solid base. Okay. Something that feels good is a good fit. Okay. And the last but not least, if we want to balance things, we are juggling. Okay. So I leave it now. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and comment. I am here to respond. Thank you very much for your time, guys. All right, guys, have a great day. Hope to see you all soon.